So my name is Nabil Aniss. I'm 35. I'm an artist. I make video installations mainly. Some lecture performances also on the side and some academic research, but my practice is focused on moving images and experimental video art. And I work mainly on how we can rethink political liberation, but rooted in some, let's say, mystical brotherhoods in Morocco. All my artistic practice is based on how we can think a liberation of marginalized groups, but rooted in an African heritage, and especially rooted in the history of slavery in Morocco, because there was a lot of deportations in Morocco from West Africa to Morocco in the 15th century, and in this deportation, these enslaved people developed a lot of rituals of dance, music, trance, and chants, and they developed it to bypass the oppression of slavery. And it still exists till today in Morocco, and it's a practice of a lot of marginalized group, sometimes a working class or proletarian group, gay people, sex workers sometimes, etc. And all my work is to approach it with them and to see what kind of a new political thought we can think there, very far from the West, let's say. Tabakalera, it's a kind of extension of my research, but specifically in subaltern masculinities, which is to say, okay, there is a lot of masculine violence in Europe, but how can we see the one of the oppressed man? And very specifically in San Sebastian, there is a kind of new political question, which is the question of immigrants. Some will call them illegal immigrants. I think no one is illegal. But then how we can approach this violence of someone who is living in the streets, who doesn't have something to eat, and who needs to survive. A lot of people think it's a not organized violence. Some people think it's barbarian. I don't think so. There is some legitimacy there. And actually how it will be crystallized in a video project is through a Moroccan book called Le Pain Nu, the book of a Moroccan writer called Mohamed Choukri. He was living in the streets and he didn't know how to write or read till the age of 20-something, and he wrote a beautiful book about it. And now it's adaptation of this, because it's really crystallized this question of subaltern masculinity. And I'm working with a team here around the city, people I met around the residency, around Tabakalera, and the dancer. And we're going to film in a school here in San Sebastian. My inner project was to film with, we call them MENA, which is non-accompanied minors, but there is a lot of issues around it, because usually when you want to film a kid, you ask the parents, but these kids don't have their parents with them here. So the Spanish government or state is their legal tutor. So the legal process is very, very long. We are going through it, but in the meanwhile, I'm working with some performers here in the city to film the project. And I hope I can show a first version in the open studio here. I think the location of San Sebastian is very specific, because it is a very clean bourgeois city. And I was like, it's too clean, it's too perfect. There is probably something dark hidden behind. And I think it's real. In the meanwhile, in the residency, a lot of things happened. First, like encounters with other artists, like Lucia Feuillet, who interviewed also, who helps me a bit in the project. Artists who are hosted around, like Izaro, who will play, for example, in the project. And I met her because she was rehearsing here at Tabakalera, and the team of Tabakalera presented her to me. And also conversation-wise about writing the project, developing it, adapting it to the city, to the context. There's also an amazing mediation team in Tabakalera, and they work with the community I'm working with also, and they know them and they welcome them here in the building. So they introduced me, we discussed a lot, we meet every Friday to discuss with them. So yeah, I think Tabakalera helped in the research, in the production, and also in the network, let's call it. I think we all do a lot of residencies and projects here. We travel a lot, but each time it's very surprising to see how conversations with other fellow artists open new doors of research on, with Leandro also we talk about sound, he's a sound artist. With Lucia, she's an editor, so we talk about images, etc. I talk with them about their projects too. And I think, yeah, it's always hyper surprising to see how our projects move when there is this kind of, let's call it contagion between our projects.